How to make an easy bee farm in Minecraft. These are the resources you will need for this farm, and this farm will get you all the honeycomb and all the honey bottles you will ever need. So anyways, let's get into it. Alright, so first up this farm is of course to find yourself somewhere to build it. Now once you've found yourself somewhere to build it, place yourself out a 5 block long row into the ground, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then on top of these blocks you will have to place yourself either 5 bee nests or 5 beehives. Now I like using beehives simply because you can craft them, making them a bit easier to get. But anyways, once you've selected whatever to use, beehives or bee nests, simply place one of them above each of these blocks. Then build yourself 4 blocks going upwards to the right of what we built so far. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Do the same on the left side. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then link up these 2 block pillars you have right here by building 5 blocks in between them. Pretty much like this. So now you should have a 1 block gap between the beehives or bee nests and the top line of blocks you have right here. So anyways, then you will have to look at these blocks and then place some dispensers facing downwards and make sure these dispensers are facing downwards. And to double check this, you can of course break out all the beehives and then make sure the little hole right here is looking downwards. So anyways, once you've done this, you will now have to expand the wall you have on the side right here by 2 more blocks going forward. So expand all the 4 blocks you have right here by 2 more blocks going towards you, pretty much like this, and of course do the same on both sides. Then once you've done this, expand the roof you have right here by also 2 more blocks going forward, and then you will have to build yourself a glass wall in front of what you have just built so far. So this will require a total of 15 glass, like this. Now we're gonna have to transport some bees inside this room later, so you will also have to break yourself out a space for a door. So what I would recommend you do is head to the right side right here and break out these 2 blocks, and then first you'll place yourself a door while looking away from the farm, like this. This door is pretty much right on the corner of this block right here, and then place yourself a second door right here, so on the second block. That way you have a kind of security measure. This is because bees are going to be flying around this room, so if you need to enter this room for some reason, the bees will not have an easy chance of escaping, because you can open this door firstly, close it, and then open this quickly and get into the room. This will prevent any bees from accidentally escaping, and if they do escape this first room, they will be stuck within here, and you can very easily then simply just bring them back into this room. So after you have done this, you will now have to head to the back of the farm, and then going out from these beehives, you will have to build yourself a row of solid blocks, pretty much like this, and make sure these are solid blocks and not half blocks like glass or slabs. Then going 1 block to the right and down from these blocks on the ground right there, place yourself another row of 5 blocks. Then you will have to stand above the first blocks you place and then place yourself some comparators going out from these blocks, and make sure these comparators are facing away from these blocks. Then after you've done this, expand the block line you have right there by 1 more block going outwards, and then build yourself a row of blocks behind the dispensers you have right here, and then expand the block line you just built by 1 more block going outwards, pretty much like this. And then you will have to expand these 2 blocks here right there by 1 more block going outwards, but don't use a solid block because you will have to use glass instead. So pretty much have 2 blocks going out from the dispensers within a 3rd row of glass. Then after you've done that, you will have to place yourself a temporary block in front of one of these comparators, within another block going out from the temporary block, then destroy the temporary block, and then expand these by 4 more blocks. So what you should have now is something that looks like this. So anyways, after you've done this, what you will have to do now is add yourself a piece of redstone in front of all of the comparators, then a piece of redstone above these blocks right here, and then 3 more pieces of redstone above the glass and these 2 blocks right here. So now you should have redstone pretty much on all the blocks you have behind this main chamber room we built right here. Then always after you've done this, you will now have to head back to the front of it here and then get started on the collecting system. So always firstly stand in front of the middle glass block you have right here, dig yourself 3 blocks down, so 1, 2, 3, then dig yourself 2 blocks forward, 1, 2, and now if you break yourself 1 block up, you should enter the middle of this room. Then always after you've broken down this room, you will have to break out the 2 blocks you have right here with 3 more blocks going in each direction, but not forward, just to the left and to the right. So then 1, 2, 3, do the same on the other side, 1, 2, 3, and from the room you dug down in, you will also have to break yourself 1 more block to the left and to the right. So anyways, after you've broken out all these blocks, you will now have to place yourself a chest right here, and this chest will pretty much be 3 blocks under where the glass starts, or the middle block of the glass is. Then head behind this chest and place yourself a hopper going into that chest, and that hopper should now be pretty much right under the middle of this room. Then place yourself 2 more hoppers going into this hopper from the left side, and of course do the same on the right side, so 1, 2. Then after you've done this, you will have to place yourself a solid block to the right side of this hopper and to the left side of this hopper, and then after you've done this, place yourself a powered rail above each of these blocks, with then 5 normal railings in between these powered rails. Then always after you've done that, you will now have to dig yourself out 1 more block to the left, place yourself a block pretty much to the left of this powered rail, and then place yourself a lever in front of this block, flick that lever on, and now the powered rail should be turned on. You will then have to do the same on the other side. So break out the dirt 1 more block to the right, place yourself a block to the right side of this powered rail, a lever on the side of this block, flick this on, and now this powered rail is turned on. Then you have one final step to the collecting system, and that is to place that hopper copper minecart above one of these powered rails, and now this should be going back and forth. And now you can obviously stand above here, open this chest, and then collect all items you're gonna get from this farm. So anyways, now we just have 3 more steps to this farm. The first one is to enter this room and place yourself 5 flowers on this floor right here, so 1 flower above each of these grass blocks. The second one is to head above here, break out the blocks you have above the dispensers, and then you will have to fill up the dispensers with either glass bottles or shares. Now if you want to get honeycomb, you will have to fill up the dispensers with shares, and if you want honey bottles, you will have to fill them up with glass bottles. And you can of course use both. Now if I primarily want to get honeycomb, what I can do is fill up 3 of these dispensers with, for example, shares, and then 2 of them with empty glass bottles. Pretty much like this. So anyways, once I've filled up these dispensers with either shares or empty bottles, you will have to then cover this up and then do the final step, and that is to get yourself bees within this room. Now to briefly state, each beehive or bee nest can hold up to a total of 3 bees, meaning since we have 5 beehives inside right here, you can have a maximum of 15 bees. And to make this farm as good as possible, I would recommend you have the maximum amount, which is of course 15 bees. Now getting the bees inside here can be a bit painful, so what I would recommend you do is locate yourself 2 bees that are around there, and then simply lure them in using, for example, a flower, or just bring them in using a lead. So if I spawn a bee right here, I can simply grab a flower and then I can bring it into this room, and once you have 2 bees, you can simply breed them up until you have 15 bees using more flowers. Now as you can see, it can be a bit difficult to lure it in, so you might have to break some of the blocks, but just get the bee inside right here, make sure it gets in here. So yeah, as you can see, it is now inside right here, so what you can do is simply just cover this up then, and then get yourself a second bee in the same way, and then just breed them up.
A few moments later.
So anyways, as you can see, that's how I just exited the room, and that's why I recommend you have 2 doors, just in case someone tried to escape. But yeah, as you can see, we now have 15 bees, and some of them have started collecting pollen. And of course, once they've collected enough pollen, they will of course enter the beehives and then dispose of their pollen. And of course, once the beehive is full enough of pollen, the redstone signal right here will be extended, sending redstone signal to of course the dispensers, which will then create either honeycomb or honey bottles. And all of the honeycomb and honey bottles you will get will of course end up in this chest. Now the bees work quite slowly, so we will take some time before you get a lot of this, but you can of course expand this to be however big you want. But yeah, anyways guys, that is it for this one, and that is how to make a very easy honeycomb and honey bottle farm in Minecraft. So anyways, if you have any questions about how this works, feel free to leave them down below and I'll try to answer your questions as quickly as possible. So anyways, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.